And mic check, mic check. Sushi, you hear me nice and good?
Loud and clear, TC. What's up?
Awesome, awesome. Because like this morning, I've been to a couple of spaces and it's rocking hard. I mean, it's crazy how spaces could rock and it affect, the whole show. But thank God we are right here. Welcome to the 15th episode of the OMAKASE show. I'm your host TC, joined by my co-host Sushi. Hey brother, first of all, congratulations of the new launch for your mind-blown toy, bro. How is it going? How's everything?
Oh, for sure. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming to our OnCyber party, which is still happening right now. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
dancing while we're doing the spaces, but thank you. It's smooth like butter. Hopefully, the community get their hands on the toys on the early access. So yeah, pretty excited for that. How you doing?
So there was like a pre-sale in a Web 2 like a manga conference or something like that, is it?
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
we sold the toys. I think we sold only two or three of the toys in Comic Con, in Indonesia Comic Con, and it was sold out. And the buyers are actually flipping them. Not most of them, but some of them are flipping them like double the price. It's pretty crazy. But now it's available for the community and for worldwide as well. So yeah, it was for Indonesia. Now it's available for worldwide. So it's pretty cool. Yeah,
Awesome,
man.
awesome. Yeah, definitely seeing a lot of, NFT projects. They are, utilizing all these toy shows, comic conference, to bring the brand to the mass. And that's definitely bring the linkage to BBRC. So this upcoming weekend, freaking excited because BBRC will be at the Pop Toy Show, Marina Bay Sands, Singapore. Can't wait to be there to see the collectibles. Saw some sneak peeks. I gonna, tweet some photos tomorrow when I see them in person. They're like special edition ones specifically for the toy show. There's a goodie bag to claim for holders and also some exclusive merch when it comes to apparels. Mr. Gentle Ape never disappoints. So let's see whether I gonna cop a view and gonna dress up right for Token 2049 week. Bro, I'm sure you're not coming. After seeing all these amazing tweets, during Korean blockchain.
No, for sure, bro. I'm
Are you
super
sure you're not going?
FOMOing. I'm super FOMOing, but you guys have fun. Yeah, man. I'm just gonna celebrate my anniversary with my wife
Oh,
actually this weekend.
I
But
see.
yeah, I'm super FOMOing on you guys. Damn it. So many cool stuff happening there.
Make sure your wife is not hearing right now, although you'll be in trouble. If heard it, you're going to be in Singapore next week. So that's the plan, right? I see what you're doing out here. Okay, okay. But yeah, bullish on next week. Gonna be a lot happening. Given that this week, there's also some updates from MetaMask. Having these self. This latest update will allow you to cash out your crypto for fiat currency easily, which means you can now send funds to your bank account. But down point is this feature is currently US, UK, and parts of Europe. So I think slowly they will be expanding, and probably in Asia we can have a taste of it. Um, I'm not sure whether we can use VPN to do this, but anyways, we just wait for announcements. Yeah, I think that would be a lot easier when it comes to builders, creators, individuals that work full time in Web3 when it comes to all this exchange and etc. But let's see. But there's
That's
also
it.
another crazy update, which is the Crypto Kicks IRL. What's your take on this, Sushi? Have you tried the app that comes to actually associate with the CIL Crypto Kicks?
Yeah,
Um, uh-huh.
no, dude. I know you already downloaded. I haven't downloaded the app myself. Sorry, the artifact community, but it's because I don't have the CRLs, and I didn't get it. So, but yeah, it looks cool. Did you try it?
I
Sushi.
was about to
Yeah.
pin the tweet up. Actually, cause I it's a fun, experience when you're locked in and then you get these crazy graphics, Artifact does a great job when it comes to this. Yeah, thanks, Sushi, you pinned it up on the top. So if everyone is not sure about the crypto kicks, the CRLL that we call it, it's a pair of sneakers that really minds game changer. It comes with Bluetooth, auto laces, isn't it, Sushi? And it also comes with
Yeah.
different rare ones, with limited editions. I forgot the breakdown of the sizes, but definitely I'm already FOMOing. I see Beto down there, loving hard, because he's about to trade one for me. I know that he's gonna do that. But anyways, I'm not seeing the real pair yet, but definitely FOMO. It's a technology that brings everything together. Um, so I would I would love to have one.
Hint, hint, Beetle.
And talking about Beto, kudos to him and the community team organizing the CloneX World Tour, which the first station, if I'm not wrong, is going to be in Singapore. I think it's Singapore goes first, and then the one in LA, which Sushi, you can give us more about the details right after. So the Clone World Tour to Singapore is just around the corner. It will happen exactly next week. Uh, Looking forward to that. It's gonna be a good one to meet up with the holders for dinner. I read the tweet from Beto saying that there's like around 100 holders signed up. Not sure 100 holders or including friends and etc. And there's gonna be an ongoing exhibition. The exhibition I'm gonna pin up at the top as well. Beto also hey, Beto is actually up here. Why not we have him to give us a quick intro of the exhibition and the stuff. Hey, Beto!
Hey, GM. Sorry, TC didn't
GM,
do a good
bro.
job explaining the CRL, so I have to come up and just tell everyone about the shoes.
Thanks, bro. Let's do it.
Right. So these shoes, what is cool about it? The two things that TC mentioned is the Bluetooth connectivity and the self-lacing function. So what was not mentioned is that there's a memory function. So basically, once you tighten your shoes to your desired fit, that's why they have when you install the app. There's this thing called Fit. So basically, it remembers your shoe size, and the next time you want to unlace and put them on, it's just double tap. So you use your feet to double tap each other, and it'll auto loosen and auto tighten. So that's the memory function. But on top of that, there's also haptic feedback, and there's apparently it tracks your step. So they're going in the app itself. There'll be some step tracker leaderboard. So that's quite exciting because those with the shoes will probably be the one competing against one another. And I guess we'll see who wears out the shoes first.
Thanks for the clarification. So are you ready to trade yours to me?
Anything is tradable at the right price.
All right. Okay, I'll slide into DMs. But before that, how's the preparation for the upcoming event
Yeah, we
next
are
week?
very busy preparing. And I think Luna C will be here in Singapore as well. So hopefully we get to catch him in person. And whether he's making it for dinner, we're not sure. But anyway, Luna C, your slot at dinner is reserved. So just let me know if you are coming by. Uh, as for the event prep, I think there's still some things that we are awaiting. So, for example, the CRLs themselves, they are in transit. So whether they reach here in time, well, let's hope for the best. So
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
think
sir.
there's quite a lot of other things to look forward to. For example, the one that Gacha just shared this couple of days is this trading cards. So every attendee to the exhibition will be getting one trading card. There are let's just say there's over 20 kinds that you can collect, but you won't get to see all 20, right? So you probably have to trade with other visitors for the ones you want. And amongst these cards, there are some that are hologram. So if you're lucky, you might get a hologram one. So TC and Sushi, you guys saw your own cards, right? So hopefully
Yeah,
you get to draw the ones you want, or you can trade for them.
I will definitely trade. I don't feel that like I got this luck, but I will get the TC for sure.
And
Why are you crying? But anyway,
it's the wrong one.
thanks for coming up.
But yeah,
It's the
just
wrong
sharing
emoji.
some
All right.
alpha of what you can expect to see
Uh-huh.
next week. So hope to see everyone next week. Thanks for having me up.
Thank you. No, of course.
We appreciate you, Beetle.
Looking forward to the ultimate experience that you prepared for us and for the community. All right, Sushi, you want to go through the rest of the updates before we welcome our special guest tonight?
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, okay, I'm back. Try to unmute. So just some updates as well that people have been talking about. I think again, pretty exciting stuff for you, Beetle, and pretty hype for you guys, and also the cards. But other than that, the other story is Justin Bieber, a fellow Artifact CloneX as well. His song "Company" is going to be turned into NFTs, which is minting, I believe, tomorrow. They're going to have 2K editions, each $28. And what's interesting about this NFT is that each NFT earns 0.0005% royalties when company is streamed. I'm pretty sure terms and conditions apply where it's streaming or how it's being done. But I think it's really interesting that um, people can buy music NFTs like this and get royalties from it having exposure. And I think it's I don't know. This is the first time for me to hear this kind of innovation, man. Like, I don't listen to Justin Bieber. I know, baby,
Don't
baby,
fake it. You were saying baby. Justin.
baby, baby, baby. Oh, that's all I know. No, I'm kidding.
See?
I know a few Justin Bieber, but I think it's pretty cool. I would love to know your thoughts as well, TC. Do you listen to Justin Bieber?
I've
Are you
nothing
a clone
against
Bieber? Are you?
Justin Bieber. He's part of the clone family, so I've nothing against him. But do you mean that like every holder when they owns this NFT, if they're gonna flip Justin Bieber's song, so they will get like a return of royalties?
Oh, good. I don't know. You should ask
Right.
Justin Bieber. Yeah, probably.
All right. I'll send him a
He'll know
DM
probably.
afterwards.
Yeah, shoot him a DM.
Okay. Okay. All right. So before we go ahead, are there any more updates that you want to share with us?
Yeah, other than the Singapore event, which is freaking awesome, and I'm super FOMOing, definitely. Oh yeah, please TC get my card no matter what. So just take it from somebody. I hope it's a hologram. Other than that, Artifact also announced, since we're Artifact fans here, they will also be joining SneakerCon in Anaheim. I think I think it's within also next week. Sorry, yeah, 16 and 17. So I think they will showcase the Air Force Ones. Maybe they'll show more shoes there. But also that time, they're going to have a CloneX night, I believe, in Orange County Museum of Art. So not sure again what the event's going to be like. But at in the same dates, oh sorry, 17, they're going to have the first CloneX award live stream. Damn, I don't know what that's all about, but I'm pretty sure the pills are going to be distributed by then. I don't know if I'm going to win anything. Probably not going to make it, but I'm rooting for all the creators out there, clone creators, TC. I'm rooting for you, Beetle, as well. I see Cass also. I'm also rooting for you. I'm voting for you guys. So yeah, I think that's about it from my side. TC, over to you.
Yeah. It's gonna be a week for the CloneX community. Of course, for 2049, that's gonna be amazing. And also, the current Korea blockchain scene, on the timeline with the vibrant communities, with insightful conversations, panels. NFT's not dead, right? yeah, before we go in, Cass, actually, I have a request just in case you wanna, jump in and to share a bit of the alpha on the CloneX events in LA. So feel free, let me know. Don't worry, early out there in the States. Brush your teeth, come on in, grab your coffee, and just ping me. But yeah, in our weekly show, we are really excited to showcase the exceptional creators and builders in the web. And tonight, we are incredibly excited to welcome a crypto OG to the stage. Not only was he an early adopter, but he's also a passionate art creator, collector, consistently supporting artists and helping them thrive in this space. Um, so before we begin, please like and retweet the space to help more people join us in listening to the amazing stories of lunacy we have tonight. And yeah, applause to the legendary lunacy. Hey, hello.
Wow. Ohio. GM, that's overwhelming. Thanks for
How are
having
you
me.
tonight?
Good. How's
Awesome.
everyone?
Doing great. Actually, I haven't shared this story with Sushi that how we actually met. So I briefly mentioned on the X timeline, right? Actually, we met. I think it's during one of the side events of Token 2049 last year, but it was like at the end of. I was actually waiting for taxi. Bumped into mutual friends of ours, also from the BBRC community, and I was pretty tipsy during the time. I probably drunk talk a lot, and I remember that you were so kind enough to accompany me at Grab to arrive. So thanks again. And I think that was the first time that we met. Not sure whether I've given a good impression or not, but I don't care because I was drunk. And after that, we reconnected through art, the community, the project that we are also in. Through the supper dinner, a very cozy creative dinner where we get to really talk and to share our thoughts, to understanding each another in a deeper level. So yeah, really happy to have you tonight to throw your wisdom, your insights, and everything to us. So, Sushi, would you want to start, invite our guest, Lunacy, tonight, and we can begin.
Of course. Irashamase to Lunacy and everyone here at the OMAKASE show. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. Lunacy, appreciate you for taking your time as well. And nice to have you here. Also, what a lovely tale of you meeting TC. You were waiting for his grab. Did you? Was that the story? Was that
I mean, it
the
is the
intro?
story now. It is the story now.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lunacy, great to have you here. Before we delve into your Web3 journey, could you also please share us a little bit about yourself, your career background, and what you're currently focusing on in your real life?
Sure. So I spent close to, since graduating from the university, I've spent like a good 15 years in startups. So mainly building my own ventures, raising funds, exiting the full works. And that's really an eternity. Like anyone who does build their ventures and run their startups for more than 10 years, you are absolutely insane, clinically insane. um, but that was my journey. And subsequently, there's a story to that, and I think that we'll talk about that later. But subsequently discovered Bitcoin, discovered the concepts of blockchain, and fell down the rabbit hole immediately. People who knew me would say, yeah, obviously that cycle is going to be in such bleeding edge technology, right? And this was in 2016. So fast forward to today, I've done like practically everything in the blockchain space. And currently I run a fund, which is mainly a couple of guys who are known VCs in the space, and we chip in our money and just get a bit more experimental with investing, growing the space, trying to push it forward. Other than that, I'm also lecturing in the local university here, teaching a course in entrepreneurship, primarily to engineers. Um, and yeah, and so as a hobby, and I guess how I got in touch with Tino, and also to some extent why I'm actually here speaking is my love for collecting art, right? both offline and online, but primarily really fell in love with the the Web3 art space, and yeah, that's it's been a joy, and I've been collecting for I think close to almost 3 years now. NFT art primarily, yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. What a journey. And I would love to see, I haven't stalked your wallet, but I would love to see what 3 years of collecting looks like. That's amazing. And great to have you here. And you mentioned that you are a lecturer and teacher. So TC already told me a little bit about this. And just now you're educating them on entrepreneurship, specifically for these engineers. I wanted to know, what does nurturing the younger generation mean to you, and why are you pursuing that? Yeah,
Oh,
and
I
yeah,
think,
maybe you could talk
yeah,
about your lecturing as well, for sure.
yeah, of course. So, um, I would be lying if I said that I had a particular passion lecturing in entrepreneurship, just because I felt like anything remotely linked to entrepreneurship should not be taught. It's something that you have to discover yourself, and really go down and grind through and learn the lessons the hard way, right? It's hardly appropriate or responsible for anyone to be teaching you, right, from a very early stage. Um, but the reason that I got into the course of teaching this particular subject is because my primary goal is to teach something related to blockchain, or metaverse, something I really am very interested in personally. The philosophical aspects of what a metaverse is, and identity, and the question of who are we in this space, and where are we going with it. So my primary aim was actually to teach this, right? But it's a bit too edgy, and so it's kind of like a foot in the door technique, where first I get hired to teach entrepreneurship, which is an obvious thing given my background, and subsequently to bridge and instruct other slightly more edgy courses. So that's my intent. Okay. Um, as to why what does it mean nurturing the younger generation? I think it's really important. Um, Not so much. Okay, so primarily for myself, teaching the young generation keeps me relevant. I think it's very easy to become obsolete in today's scenario. I mean, you just you can miss out one mint, and suddenly you are like, oh my gosh, like you know, what's the new meta? What's the new thing? What are we catching up on? And this is just specific to Web3, right? But imagine like all these things happening all over the space. In AI, Web3, in just I don't know, like now, like even in like what is it, like silicon chip technologies, things like that. It's just moving the world very rapidly, and in order to stay relevant, I find that it's really helpful to keep my feet on the ground, primarily with what the Gen Zs, and the newer guys coming in, what they're using, what they're consuming, what's on their mind. So I went with more of that self-interest perspective when it came to teaching and connecting. But as I went along, subsequently I realized that the young, by virtue of being caught up in this web of just being so attention deficit, right? This web of like overload in information, I realized that they are very lost. They are very lost, and they have too many leaders. They have too many different opinions, sometimes on opposite ends. And so sometimes it does help that there's a slightly older person, right? Helping to guide them towards saying, okay, maybe, right? I'm not going to tell you the answer, but maybe this is the way you should be going, right? Maybe, keep your feet planted this way, and focus on principles, focus on fundamentals. And yeah, I mean, just based on feedback, based on my experience over the past couple of years, lecturing in the uni, I realized that that's very helpful for all of them, in the era of TikTok, in the era of all these, woke culture, and all these other things. Yeah, but that, as you can see, this is a topic for another day. But you can go on and on about what's going on in that space. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for your insights as well. And I can't believe you're also teaching regarding NFTs and metaverse and blockchain. That's pretty dope as well to hear. Speaking of NFTs and crypto and whatnot, can you also tell us, being an OG, when like exactly did you get into crypto and NFTs? How? Why? Tell us that story. The beginning. How did it happen?
Okay, so I mean, firstly, I mean, OG, I would say that it's just about time frame, right? And based on how we're looking at the space, we tend to agree everyone is still early, and the fact that you're still here, you are the OG basically, like who is to say, someone in 2015 or 16 or 17 is more OG than someone in 2018, right? It really comes down to how much involvement you get. If you're a tourist, then it doesn't matter if you were in 2012, you should basically know nothing about the space. But if you are heavily participating, even in the last 2 years, you could have way more depth of knowledge and understanding, right? So, and I would like to qualify that, right? When we say OG. For myself, I came in 2016, and the story is kind of slightly dramatic, but really straightforward. So in 2016, I was in startups, right? So I went to an entrepreneurship boot camp. So apparently, my investors felt like I could be a better leader by learning from others. So I went to the boot camp, and the boot camp was talking about mindfulness, just slightly spiritual stuff, slightly like just trying to find yourself, find direction, that kind of thing. Uh, and in the midst of all that, I went with my good friend, right? And out of the blue, everyone is like learning new stuff, learning meditation and understanding new things about their startups. But for me, somehow I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta buy Bitcoin. I have no idea why, but I stumbled upon that thought. I'm like, buy Bitcoin, right? So I'm like, I told my friend, I was like, you gotta buy Bitcoin. And she's like, what now? Yeah, now, like, we gotta buy Bitcoin now. So we just went down the rabbit hole. We bought Bitcoin without knowing. I mean, we all heard about it, right? But hearing and taking part is two different spectrums, right? So bought Bitcoin, and then saw Ethereum, and obviously, no idea about market cap, no idea about what supply is, right? Just realized that Ethereum was what, $7, So we are like, okay, buy a lot of Ethereum too, it's cheaper, right? So just did that, and I would say it's slightly serendipitous in that sense. Like we just discovered it, got into it, and then realized, hey, we actually did the right thing here, right? Because price went up, right? Money go up, and we are like, we must have gotten it right. We are such geniuses, right? So naturally, after we held the asset, we needed to discover, research about it, and that's why I mentioned at the early stage where I went down and basically did everything in the space, because how could you not, right? After discovering this holy grail technology that promises all these different futures, created by, and I'm talking about Ethereum here, right? Created by this dude who created technologies because his spell in World of Warcraft was nerfed, like such a quote unquote sexy story, right? Something that was so inspiring for me at the time. Yeah, so that's very short answer, but somewhat dramatic on how I actually got into the space.
For sure. Wow, what a story! And thank God for the boot camp, right? And
Yeah.
that's such a cool story. And I wish I went to that boot camp. But anyway, you are rocking a CryptoPunks again. That's why I
hmm
also see you as an OG. But what does CryptoPunks mean to you, and what does it represent, and why do you like it?
Oh yeah. So I think with CryptoPunks, it's a pretty obvious choice. If I had to choose like any PFP to represent this particular account, Twitter account, it would have to be the CryptoPunk, to me at least, right? Because um, historically, it is one of the NFTs with the longest provenance, to the extent that even predates what you know as the NFT, right? Because when we talk about NFTs, we usually refer to the ERC 721 standard, right? Which, the most famous example would be the Bored Apes, right? But CryptoPunks actually predate that standard, right? If not for the concept of the CryptoPunks, you might not have or even talk about PFPs, right? And NFTs in that context. So naturally, that would be the one that I would choose to collect or invest in, because it has so much significance in the market, and that's why generally speaking, the value does hold up quite well, mainly because these guys are forever punks, right? It's not just about diamond handed or anything like that, but when you're collecting art, right? And CryptoPunks, in my opinion, it's one of the NFTs, if not the NFT, that best crosses into the fine art category, because these people are the ones collecting punks, and they would never sell, right? Not, at least not within 10 years, right? That's the general concept of collecting art. So that's very different. You don't naturally get that volume of flipping, people selling below mint, those kind of like behavior, just because it's not regarded as one of those collectible products. It's just a very different type of NFT.
Yeah, for sure. Again, thanks, CryptoPunks, for making the scene happen. But yeah, I also wanted to know, we're not, Tinoch and I, we're not in the CryptoPunks community, right? So can you tell us more a little bit about the CryptoPunks community,
Sure.
these collectors, what's it like to be a part of it?
Sure. So I think openly, when you just have to Google CryptoPunks or search it in Twitter, you would see that there are a lot of celebrities obviously rocking it, and a lot of celebrities still using it, right, to an extent. So there's a lot. It's very diverse. You have collectors right up the sphere of influence, right up the sphere in terms of the net worth, and in general, it's hard to pinpoint and say what makes a CryptoPunk collector or CryptoPunk community. It's just various sets of people who see the same thing that I just said, right? In the long term value of what it represents, and what an ownership stake in it actually means for them. I would say, well, this is not really my words. You can easily find this, in a lot of punks have said this. I think notably 6529 and several others who are more influential in the crypto Twitter space. Who generally talk about punks and how there is, thought leadership and influence with these people. From my own anecdotal experiences, the punks that I meet up with, and I generally meet up with punks, just anyone punk want to meet up, I'll definitely oblige, and so I've done that, and anecdotally, like, I realized that there's a very high quality to the people who I meet, in the sense that, the things that we discuss are less about prices. We don't talk about floor price. We don't talk about like the price of punks. It's more like slightly higher level discussions, like almost into like philosophical understanding of the space and stuff. And yeah, generally that's the type of vibe in the community. Now, I wouldn't say everyone is like that, right? Definitely, there are differences and different spaces and different groups of people. But at least those I meet tend to fulfill this particular type of stature, and the conversations are really good with them.
Amazing. I also wanted to talk about right now the current markets. You've been through the ups and downs, 2016, and we're currently in this kind of bear market. So I wanted to know, what are your thoughts on the current market sentiments surrounding NFTs and crypto as a whole? And what opportunities do you think believers who choose to stay and build can expect?
Sorry, I didn't catch the first part. So what sentiment, Sushi?
What are your thoughts on the current? Oh, yeah, sorry. What are your thoughts on the current market sentiments surrounding NFTs and crypto as a whole?
Okay.
And yeah.
So I think whenever we say bear market, right, the common consensus is we are very impatient people, right? We want to see returns. Me too. I'm talking to myself here, right? And because of that, we are just terribly short term. Because I mean, let's just do this thought exercise, right? All of us know, and I know that prices will be a lot higher, right? In about 2 years' time, 3 years, maybe 5 years, right? Certainly in 10 years. And but we don't really bother about that, right? We care about what prices are in 3 months or 6 months. Like even if we say it, like okay, I'm in for the long term, it still affects us when we look at floor prices or Bitcoin price or Ethereum price. So what I'm trying to say is, if we can actually zoom out, there isn't a bear market, right? It's in general we are still a few $100 billion market cap in terms of the entire crypto space. That's insane. Like I cannot imagine that, right? In 2016 or 17, that would be totally. If you told me that, I would be like, nah, it's not possible. So it's not a bear market in the sense of a very long term, multi-year kind of approach, but I want to say that because particularly for NFTs, you have people granted losing a lot of money when they buy something at 10 ETH and it's at 3 and they are like, oh man, it is a bear market, right? Because they literally saw their loss, right, after they sold and booked it. But we have to be real because NFTs are currently in their first cycle. They don't have the historicals that the larger crypto space have, right? Which is 2012, 14, 16, all the way to now, where you can actually reference those cycles and you can see that okay, indeed it's a upward trajectory all the way. But if NFT is the first market and because of that you can't reference, and I feel like I need to say all those things before so that we can understand that in view of that, there's obviously a future still, and it's still a larger bull run. It's still positives. It still speaks more positives than negatives, in my opinion, at least with the current market. Now it's very different if you are very concerned with floor price, but I have no advice for that, right? It's what it is, and but in general, I think Sushi were talking about like Justin Bieber dropping, using NFTs, things like that. I mean, look at this, like crazy innovations are still here, and we're talking about Bieber, like we're talking about Bieber. Okay, we're not talking about like a third grade, celebrity or B grade celebrity. So we should not be saying Bieber and then saying, oh, you know what, bear market, you know what, it's not gonna work. Like, come on, like it's Bieber, right? So it's gonna be good, like it's gonna be great, and you have these trailblazers who are still trying to find use cases and various things, and Bieber's coming in. Yes, of course there's money to be made, but you might argue that he doesn't even need this. If he wanted to, this is probably not the best way for him to make the money, right? It's just confusing, and it's a potential liability and baggage, so he would rather just earn his money somewhere else. So I would argue that you have these really popular artists, movers and shakers in the space who are still looking at the exact technology and the exact space you are in. Like imagine that, right? We didn't have this in 2021, even with like BAYC, starting out initially with the CryptoPunks. There wasn't like a celebrity of this, nature or sort that's looking at the underlying tech and saying, what can I do more with it, right? But here we are. So again, if you just abstract yourself away from, floor prices, then you begin to see the truth, right? Which is it's never been better. Like it keeps coming, like the news, the good stuff, and people are still building. We are in such exciting spaces, and you have all these enthusiasts still coming together. I think that's all really, really positive. In general for the space. So I think with respect to your second part of your question, which is what does it mean for the creators and builders still here? You're gonna make it. You just are, and it's not about giving you financial advice or not. It's not about financial advice. Like if anything, it's career advice, right? That you're gonna make it because can you not look at the space, right? You owe it to yourself to stay. If you are financially stretched, then figure out ways in which you can contribute to community. You can build, try and get like a small check here and there, helping out various projects. If you're not financially stretched and you really want to explore, then just dive deep in, build your own ventures. Go to general assembly, learn some code, like learn to ship some products, figure it out. Like, because there's just so much expansion, right, in this level of technology and space, that I cannot be more bullish. It's insane. Like, and I feel like no one should come to the conclusion that it's not going to work and it's not going to make it. And I think most people don't, right? Naturally, we conclude that, yep, it makes sense. But I'm just still very concerned with lot price, right? So I think you really need to abstract yourself away from prices and just look at the space on its own and just be inspired by everything that's going around.
Yeah, Lunacy, really, really great take, and I think it's a matter of perspective, and the builders keep on building because we know that the technology's here. It's the communities are still here, and those who are still here, those are you guys who are still here, the Omakase fam as well. You guys believe in it, so yeah, for sure. I think definitely we do have a future, and I do believe we do have a future. That's why I'm still here as well, talking with you, and wanted to get your thoughts as well. And yeah, I also wanted to have a brief. Sorry, yeah. TC had TC is kind of reggy right now, but so I'm chatting with him. I think he's gonna come back. But you and TC had a conversation regarding bridging Web 2 to Web 3 or bridging Web 3 to Web 2. So I wanted to kind of pick your brains on this. Like, can you share with us your take on this? Do you think it's important? How are we going to do this to kind of build our space even more? Lunacy, what's your take on bridging Web 2 to Web 3 or Web 3 to Web 2?
Okay, so I think this conversation that I had with DC um, was just it took a really strange slant, I would say, because okay, for that matter, so all of this is just semantics, right? Web 2, Web 3, there's labels, and as with anything that is labeled, you can choose to abide by it, or you can choose to pay some attention to it, or you can ignore it completely, right? You can break the rules, you can do what you want, which is why different people, to my frustration, inventing words like Web 2.5 or worse, right? Web 2 plus Web 3 equals Web 5. I've heard that one, and it's like, wow, okay. But it's just semantics, and there's nothing wrong with them saying it either. It's just my personal preference to stick to fundamentals, right? So with Web 1, we had the early stage pre-internet, right? Then we have Web 2, which is the internet, and then now we're talking about Web 3, which is a more decentralized environment, promoting the tenets of permissionless technology, trustlessness, blah, 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 things that you already know. I'll bore you to death, right? But here's the thing. For companies who construct primarily their products and various things, and they say, okay, I am a Web3 company, right? I mean, you are the one slapping that label on yourself. And when you do that, you need to be sure that you know what you're talking about, right? That you totally drank the Kool-Aid, that you understand what people need, right? Particularly, and you know your reason to exist. Because I find that there are a lot of companies who are stuck in limbo, which is fine. It's just sometimes they lie to themselves too much that they believe they're Kool-Aid, right? Which is that, okay, I'm a Web 2 company, but because I've used blockchain, because I'm issuing NFTs, now I'm a Web 3 company. But the problem with that is you start behaving that way and you cause a lot of issues to your own community, your own company culture, your own products, and you start to have issues with expectations, right, of your holders who are Web3 holders, and then you realize that, man, I'm actually a Web2 company, it just doesn't make sense, and I can't meet the expectations. So this I think becomes a almost like an oxymoron, right? If you're like, I'm a Web 2, but I'm also in Web 3. So I think that's the issue. But if we bring something close that we are talking about right now, let's say Justin Bieber, right? As a performer in the traditional space, killing its superstar celebrity, saying that, okay, I'm going to use my technology, which is primarily built in Web 2, right? On the internet, Spotify, yada, yada. And I'm going to include an NFT component. Now, does that make him a Web 3 artist? No, right? No, because essentially he is using the liquidity that potentially can come from that 1%, I believe it was 1% of his entire of that song, right? 1% of that song. And I welcome that liquidity, right, as Justin Bieber. And in doing so, I'm going to return certain royalties to this user. That's totally fine, right? He's using Web3 to his benefit. It doesn't necessarily mean that Web2 has entered Web3. No, it's just Justin Bieber using Web3. And but if we circle down to that exact event and we talk about Justin Bieber's song giving back royalty, now this event, this siloed technology stack, it better well be Web3, totally, right? Foolproof, right? Because you are giving royalties to the people and you're going to encourage the expectation of profit, whether you like it or not. I'm not saying you should do it, but whether you like it or not, there's going to be this idea, right? And so the technology better be permissionless, and it allows people to, flip it and invest in it and, whatever they want to do with it, which is exactly what Web3 is about, right? Do whatever you want with it. But if the technology chooses to be on centralized databases and there are certain KYC components, there are certain, you can do this, you cannot do this, you can do that, you cannot do that. There's blacklisting, whitelisting. Then you are failing the expectations of the crowd. You get what I mean? And that's going to be a problem because now you are like, oh, I'm Web 2.5. That's exactly what is going on, right? Which won't work because what are you doing? You don't have to do this, right? If you're going to go into the space and announce that your technology is Web3, go all the way and make sure that particular stack behaves that way. Then that's great. That's great news. And there's going to be amazing stuff. And you can't stop it. Some people are going to build your song and they're going to open up decentralized finance farms, right, on your song. And they're going to farm your song literally. And there's going to be APYs and and I look at that and I say, like, that's super amazing. Like, to me, I'm so pumped if that is going to happen. Not because I'm going to farm it, but I feel like if anyone can build anything, then you clearly have landed on something important here, right? Even if some of these components are going to be slightly rebellious in nature, right? I mean, it has to be controlled, and I know that there are a lot of difficulties, right? When anyone can do anything, right? It's almost like a purge, right? I know there are difficulties, but those difficulties will be ironed out in the near future anyway, right? Through its means, and we'll work it out. Yeah. Am I ranting on? Does that make sense to you?
No, for sure. I think that's great, and it's again a matter of labeling. And I love that you keep on bringing Justin Bieber's case study, making it relevant to our conversation. And speaking of that as well, I wanted to know your take on like mass adoption, right? Because again, I don't know, but like we've always, that's kind of like everybody's talk, right? Like, oh, we're gonna go back up. We're gonna continue, and I think the future is when the mass adopts. So, do you think that's also important? And how can we do? How can we improve this space even more to bring us closer to mass adoption? And by the way, TC0914, that's Tinoch, because TC's OG account is ragging right now. So just
Oh dear. Okay, yeah. So if this entire account, like this entire space rugs, it's because his account went away, right?
definitely.
Okay, yeah. So just take note of that. We'll just rejoin whatever space. So I think okay. So the question of, is mass adoption important? I mean, of course, obviously, right? Obviously, with anything you want to be involved in, I mean, if you were like, really good at pickleball, right? you will want pickleball to be the national Olympic sport, right? You want it to be the most played sport, right? So I think naturally, whatever tag we want to use, we want it to be as widespread as humanly possible. So I think the more obvious question would be, will it come? And I think it's you really cannot stop this. You can't, like the whole idea of blockchain is that the blockchain progresses on and on, one block after another, right? And the decentralized nature just means you can't censor it, you can't seize it, you can't stop it. Obviously, not all blockchains are the same, not all blockchains are equal. So I'm really talking about the main ones and the more prominent ones here. So you can't stop it, which is already a key clue into what it's going to look like in the future. You cannot stop something that anyone could use, anyone could build, anyone could learn, and anyone could promote. You can't. It's like a virus, right? That will go on and on and on. Some people like try and ask me like, okay, what is this space you're in? What's this? Tell me about Web3. What is it? One line. Tell me what's Web3. And I'll be like, oh, it's a religion for the blockchain. And I realized that when you say that, if you know, like people would immediately be like, oh damn, it makes so much sense now, right? That's why you guys are so crazy and the whole world hates you because you are this religion for blockchain, right? I'm just talking about Web3, not just the technology, right? Just the idea of what is it about, like when we go partying for NFTs, when we go support new technology innovations and have a drink over it, like, So I think you can't stop if it's a religion. Like religions have basically been around since the beginning of mankind because it's a religion, right? It just builds on and it has that semi affiliate or viral loop going around with the religion, where we all want a better life for everyone else, so we'll just pitch to them, unintended or not, which is the case with blockchain, right? How many times have you just randomly told someone about blockchain and got really inspired to go on and on, right? And the guy's just looking at you like you're psycho, right? I think that speaks about what it's about, because you don't have an intent to sell any product, but you just felt like you want to get into their space and tell them about this tech, right? Like you're preaching a good news or whatever it is. So I think it will come because of these natural tendencies for humans to spread this forward, right? And I think that it's a very important part of technology progressing. It makes a lot of sense that there's a lot more decentralized components now, particularly in a world post pandemic, that has come to the idea that you can work remotely on technology, that you can consume digital tech, right? And you don't necessarily need to do a lot of IRL stuff anymore. A lot of sacred cows were literally slayed, right? I'm just, no pun intended, I'm talking about religion here, right? So, it's just gonna go on, and there's really just no stopping mass adoption. There's nothing you can do to make it faster. There's nothing you can do to make it slower. It's just gonna happen because that's just what the blockchain intends, right? And which is why regulators are getting so worried because this shit is just writing itself at this point, and they have to find ways to get people to comply because there sure hell is no way they can censor it. Yeah, so I think that's the best way to say this, because if we go into the detail on why mass adoption is important, that covers too wide a spectrum because blockchain has so many use cases.
Right. Thank you. Thanks for the take. And if Web3 is a religion, the OMAKASE in this Twitter Spaces is basically church. So
yeah,
or
a cult,
or a cult. Yeah, definitely. And speaking of these, working metaverses like X, right? Twitter is Discord. That's kind of the working metaverse platforms. But other than that, sorry, I'm going on a rant. But we've noticed that NFT projects like Memeland, Recent, the Friendtech, everybody's talking about, gaining a lot of attention. Now even X, right? Also rewarding creators and influencers. So do you believe that there's a shift in the Web3 beta towards social-fi? What's your take on this? And yeah, want to know your thoughts as well.
I think that everything I said earlier with regard to how Web3 almost has this like semi-religious slant implies that there is already a social element built into Web3, right? The way we pass the message forward, the way we convert users to using our technology stack. So it's already organic, and I find that some of the best use cases for Web3, for blockchain, for crypto, for NFTs are going to be things that are really organic to what the underlying movement is. So it is no surprise that social media would have would have a use for the blockchain, right? It's what surprises me is why we took so long. And similarly, I know I keep bringing up Justin Bieber because it's quite interesting, but similarly, I find that music NFTs seems very natural and organic, and it surprises me why it took so long, right? So I think SocialFi naturally would find its ways. I find that sometimes we get too carried away trying to say things like, for example, and maybe no one has said this, okay, so let me be the first one, right? For example, saying like, okay, friend tag is like Meta, right, which is Facebook, right? Meta on the blockchain, or friend tag is like Instagram on the blockchain, right? We might get carried away saying these labels, but sometimes you need to think that Meta is already trying to get on the blockchain. So there is no Meta on the blockchain when Meta is on the blockchain, right? So when we look at SocialFi, it's nice to see disruptors, but we also have to understand, because of the way blockchain allows anyone to build, anyone to use. There's no IP involved in this open source technology mostly. It just means that it might not be your bag. It might not be your NFT or your coin, right? SocialFi could very well be X using the blockchain, right? Hopefully Dogecoin. But using the blockchain or using any other tech stack and becoming, that eventual huge juggernaut that you use in Web3, right? It might not be that undervalued market cap coin that you're buying, right? So I think so, yeah. So I think SocialFi is naturally going to be it, and hopefully music NFTs will start soon, in my opinion.
Awesome. For sure. And speaking of the Twitter people, we got a new Twitter. Sorry, X user TC0914. Can you say something, TC? I think he's
Mic
back.
check, mic check. Can you hear me?
Dude, you're
Yep.
good.
OMG. I knew that. I knew that Twitter gonna rock me. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
literally texting a while ago. I say, hey bro, I think you're rocking. But it was actually me.
Yeah. And
Can you hear feedback?
we were,
No.
Everything's fine?
Yeah,
no, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
You're totally good. Yeah.
All right. Don't follow this account, please. Anyways, yeah, thanks for touching on the market sentiments, thoughts about the current Web3 meta. So Lunacy, let's move to the next segment when it comes to supporting and investing in Web3 platforms and artists.
Sure.
So besides being a pioneer and believer in Web3, right? So we know you have also been investing in different Web3 projects. And to share to us earlier on, during our one-on-one conversations, you mentioned particularly blockchain execution platforms are the projects that you look into. Could you share your perspectives on this and explain why you chose execution platforms among other different categories?
Yeah, so I think a more accurate take on what we choose to invest in, right? And we're talking about my fund here, right? Is basically blockchain companies, blockchain products that have a huge impact, right, on the overall space. Things like marketplaces, protocols that are needed. Not any protocol will do. And anything along the horizon that we feel like is important. Sometimes it could be decentralized finance dashboards, could be exchanges, things like that. And the reason for that is because as with anyone, when you invest in a nascent stage type of industry, you like to choose the ones that can shape the entire industry, because generally those are the ones who do really well, right? And you just need to look at Web2, right, with basically the FANG stocks, right? Facebook, Apple, and all those other things that emerged from the dot-com bust and shaped the entire internet that we know significantly. So obviously, as value investors, we want to select and find such projects to invest in. Yeah, obviously there are challenges. With the way that Web3 is almost semi anonymous and it's so early that not a lot of people have that huge track record of credibility. But yeah, we try our best in finding these gems as early as we can.
Right. We definitely need this kind of technology so that we can afford, issues like what we're having today, especially for my probably it's a connection problem. It's not even Twitter or X. So sorry, Elon. But anyway, you wear many different hats in Web3. I had a chance to visit your gallery space in OnCyber. It's truly amazing, like the experience going in and seeing that how you intentionally creating different pieces and sort of telling a story. So when did you start collecting digital art in Web3? I remember actually you told us like you have been collecting about 3 years already. So how's the journey so far?
It's been fun, definitely. So I think that the collecting in Web3 really does have its advantages, particularly since I am 100% attention deficit, right? I am unwell in that department, so I'm easily distracted. I like things that I can engage with. I like things that I can talk to. And when I buy into or collect Web3 art, I am not just collecting the piece. I'm collecting the narratives behind the artist. I can peer into the provenance of what they have been selling, and everything can be immediately verified. I can also look into their social media provenance. I can look into how they are engaging with people, and so I feel like there's a lot of tying up of all these different things. As you execute a smart contract and get the art, it's more than that. You get into their lives, and then you can follow up. And you can just watch their progress as they go along, and you can like do shows, you can do collecting spaces. There's just all these different attributes inbuilt into what Web3 is about that makes it really fun for me, right? As opposed to simply collecting and vaulting stuff and just looking at it myself. It's interesting because you tweeted, and I love the video you did, TC, about when you were walking through the vault that I have. And that's the interesting part, because I didn't invite you into my vault, in a sense, right? There wasn't a ticket, there wasn't, you could just, anyone could permissionlessly come in, look at the same things that I've put up. It's just going to run all the time, right? And if you look at it with an Oculus or some other goggle, virtual VR goggles, it's going to be amazing, right? Just looking at all these things. And I tend to spend like too long a time in the vault sometimes, just looking at the art. And yeah, so I really value those experiences personally for myself, because it's just so damn fun for me.
Yeah, that's the most beautiful thing, to collecting place where you can install all these pieces in. So as someone who has also collected art in Web 2, how would you describe the differences between collecting art in Web 2 and 3?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, you can actually look into their social media provenance, if I want to use that word, that allows me to just look at their history, look at how they're doing, right? Look at how they are pushing their art, and just seeing if you want to be a part of that or not. And it doesn't always come down to like, oh, I want to make money or I want to flip. That's really not what this is about, right? If I mean, to be honest, if I wanted to do that, like I'll probably get involved more trading crypto directly, assuming I want to perform that function of trading and flipping. So collecting is about peering into what these different artists are doing, and in the traditional space it's not so easy. It's just not that easy, right? And there would be art that you collect in the traditional space, but you'll be lucky if you can even talk to the artist. Like, it's just not that easy finding them and talking to them. Some of them don't even have social media. You get those kind of occurrences, which is not right or wrong. Okay, it's not right or wrong. It's just my experience in Web3 is completely opposite, where I talk to the artists like regularly. I can see them, their feed. I can see them engaging. And it's just a fourth dimension to the art that is not easy to replicate in the Web2 space. Even with digital art collections in the Web2 space, it's just not as easy to replicate, because I find that I'm a product guy. I love like technologies that reach out to the consumer, and I realize that a lot of these things are UI and UX, right? And the Web3 UI and UX allows you to peer very quickly into provenance, allows you to very quickly, particularly if you have done it over and over, right? To look into different wallets and trace, and look into how people are buying. I can look into, I have so many collector friends. I can look into what they're collecting without even asking them or talking to them or getting their permission. So these are very, very vastly different kind of attributes that Web2 cannot even, or the traditional art space cannot even begin to dream about. Like, it's just so different. And I think that's my personal experience.
Yeah, 100%. And when it comes to the art community in general, I feel that the dynamic it's massive. It's not belongs to under one single NFT or PFP project, but in general, they are just like so loving on supporting each other through retweets, doing shout outs to their artists, friends and peers. And it's amazing also able to see, I believe like some of your artist friends are also in this space tonight. And amazing that they're here, and you also provide a lot of support to artists when it comes to purchasing their art. You have hosted live collection sessions. Could you briefly guide us through the process, formats, like your experience and the intentions behind hosting all these live collection sessions?
Yeah, sure. I'm a believer in like fundamentals and the principles behind why I do certain stuff, right? And like I said, no, Web3 is inherently a very social space. It's a space where anyone could build, do anything. Everyone is trying to vie for attention, certainly, because we are all attention deficit, right? And we're just getting overloaded. So that's the space we operate in, and so naturally, as I collect, I like to make sure that it's open, and this is not actually done for my benefit, right? It could be, right, assuming that as a result of being so social, being presenting things so loudly, that my vault becomes well known, and like some of these artists directly benefit, and consequently the entire value goes up, right? And I make a lot of money from that. That could happen, of course. I'm not saying it won't. But primarily, I'm not exactly thinking that far, right? I'm just saying I'm going to collect the art, and I want to make sure that everybody knows, right? Not because of me, but because the artist should be known. The sale should be known, right? If it can inspire someone, then it should. If it can raise the profile of said artist, then it absolutely should. I feel like I would be doing injustice or disservice to the artist if I collect the art and I don't shout about it, or like I'm not telling people about it. Then that's a disservice to me in Web3, right? I'm not operating on its core principles of openness and just trying to get attention for what it's worth. So yeah, so in collecting spaces, you get people to talk about their art, and different artists can learn from how this artist has presented and how they're making the sale, and they could make conscious decisions whether they want to or not to shift their strategies, right, or change certain things about themselves if they want to. But it's a choice, right? It's a choice that they have in front of them. And when the art is collected, there's immediately a lot of tweets, retweets, and it's live, so it's kind of fun, a bit disconnect from just facing code and technology and graphics all the time without any real world interaction, right? That's a bit different, right? Some kind of like the space we're doing now, where there's actual voices, actual people interacting, which adds a bit of dynamism. So that's what I do, yeah. And I also want to touch a bit on the point where, and I realize that some people do say, like, okay, why do shield spaces, right? They call it shield spaces, which is not necessarily the best word for it or name for it, but it is what it is. Where a collector, for example, states that, okay, I'm going to collect, and I want to show me your art. Like, I feel like this is, some people like to do it, some people don't. Personally, I don't mind doing it, and I've done it many times where I openly ask for artists to share, and I feel that like I said, adds that dynamism where artists could contribute, and then they can also look at what other people are contributing, and they can see what people are talking. It's just very social, right? And I'm using everything that Twitter or X gives me at my disposal, right, to go full into what this Web3 is. And let's face it, it's all experimental at this point. We still don't necessarily know what we're doing. There is no formula. We're writing our own playbook. So, let alone art collecting. Like, there's no formula, there's no playbook. And I feel, let anyone do what they want, right? If they're going to open up the spaces and artists are going to contribute, so be it, right? If you're going to collect without such spaces, you're going to collect on your own, that's fine as well. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do feel that whatever the case, just try and be more social about it, because that's what Web3 is. Else, you're better off in Web2.
100%. It's all about transparency. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. So I've also picked it up this afternoon, spent a really good time at Lunacy's Vault. How many works that briefly count? I mean, like, it's crazy amount of works, but it's nicely curated. Do you have an estimate of how many pieces of art you have collected so far?
Okay, so I have collected more than 500 pieces of art.
Shit.
I have stopped counting for a long while already, so I
Right.
don't really have the figure, but it's definitely, I mean, it's of course more than 500, but I'm not sure where the last count is. The vault that you see is my precious vault, my most precious vault, so I show it off as much as I can. I think that vault only supports 100 pieces, if I'm not wrong. And the best part, again, of Web3 is I collect the art, and like, I'm doing all these things, but I have like people who help and support me in curation of the actual vault, because that's Web3, and anyone could step in and help. So the hidden walls, right? I don't know. I think you met her, right? The hidden walls, who is a very accomplished artist. She helps me with curation. So every time I collect art, like, she helps me to put it up better, because I definitely do not have that talent. But I'm learning. I'm looking at how she does it, and I'm like, wow, okay, this placement is good. I can see why you did that, and that's why it looks really good. Like, from a visitor coming in and just looking at all the vibrancy and the different things. It's all, there's a certain science to it, I would say, because of curation, because of how she does it. Yeah,
No
but I am,
wonder you have like a
yeah,
tailored curate. I saw like the
correct,
green room. It's
yeah,
everything is nicely curated.
yes. But because of that, right, the sad thing is, I collected so many, right, but not all can feature, right, in my precious vault, because it's limited in the space. So I have like acquired other vaults. Some are like pretty high price actually, but I haven't actually got down to putting up. But I'm a bit half-hearted on that, and I don't want to do something that I'm half-hearted on, because if I have two vaults, right, it tends to be like the effort is not on, it's not targeted any. I don't know. I just don't want to take away quality from my current vault, right? And that's really the only reason. Like else, if I could, I would just put up all 500 pieces everywhere, right? But it's also limited. Like, can you imagine, the 100, and you're already seeing so many, right? Can you imagine seeing 5 times that much? That's I mean, at some point, no matter how beautiful it is, you're just going to be overwhelmed, and it's just not going to bring out the flavor. Basically, you need to have a good aftertaste. If you're talking about flavors, you need to leave the vault saying, "That's a really good vault," right? And I will have done my job. Right? The curator will have done her job.
Yeah, you should actually do different art shows on your vaults, like based on different themes, and then you can do like different curations. But of course, that would take a lot of time. But yeah, that would be fun if you invite, like the community, the artists to come along to play with it, and we do like a virtual art show. I think that would be fun. So when it comes to art style, I see like a lot of the art that you collected. There's one I really like, and even the caption is amazing. It's called Ego. Is it Ego?
Oh yeah.
So normally it's ecosystem, right? But it played with the word. It's like talking about ego, and it got like this ecosystem. Do you like figurative, abstract, or futuristic art? Do you have like any sort of preference when it comes to art taste?
Okay, generally speaking, I've said this many times that as a collector, right, I just simply like nice things. I can't qualify what is nice. I'm not trained in the fine art where I could tell you, and at times I'm just envious of these different artists and how they view the world, right? Must be very different from how I view the world. But I really like nice things, and apparently those things tend to work with my curator, and the vault just comes off very nicely. I can tell you that what I feel like I could, I'm using air quotes here, improve on, quote unquote, which is perhaps my appreciation of photography, which it's just not. I feel like it can get better for me. That's all. I feel like I
Okay.
should probably be collecting more photography. Uh, but I'm generally drawn to graphics, right? And I would say I'm drawn to like animations. I'm drawn to like vibrancy. I'm drawn to really out of the world concepts, right? Involving the cosmos, involving you know really futuristic cyber punk type of designs. These are things that I'm more drawn to that extent, right? But it's not to say I don't collect anything else, because I do, and if you look at the vault, you would agree, right? It's pretty much anything there. Yeah, but I guess like anyone, looking at collections, looking at tweets, it's easier on the eye to 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 settle, right? To settle on animated material, animated art, or very compelling narratives. It's just what it is. Like that's just the salesmanship of selling art in Web3.
Okay. Yeah, nice. You love nice things. Fair enough. So I have a quick question. Do I have a better CloneX or sushis?
Okay, wait, let me see.
Oh my god, I'm nervous. Not the one I'm using right now, not the ghost account, my main account. All right.
Okay. Does Sushi look like his PFP?
You mean in real life?
Yeah.
I haven't met him in real life, bro.
Oh wow. Okay. No, here we go. This is Web3 for you, right?
Exactly.
But I mean, I have met you in real life, so I feel like there's a lot of consistency with your PFP.
Let's go! We can stop it here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to that extent, else I mean it's so similar. Like who's to say which is better, right? But it's yours is definitely a lot like you. So I'll stick with yours.
Cheers, Sushi. You have anything you want to share?
No, dude, yours is better.
All right. No, jokes aside, I mean, after visiting your OnCyber space, it really inspired me to create my own. We are also planning to integrate OnCyber with X Spaces so that our audiences can enjoy both visual and audio aspects of the show. So kudos to you and also to Kath, which is the ambassador of OnCyber and also dedicated community builder within the CloneX community. Shout out to you, Kath. So what potential do you see in OnCyber and what improvements do you think that can be made?
Yeah, I think OnCyber recently kind of rebranded into like a world builder, right, or something of that nature. And I think that that's really interesting because if you start out initially as let's say an art gallery or NFT gallery type of platform, then you are very limited with what um, customers you can get, right, and what consumers you can get. But when you start to get into world building, when you start to get into all these like interoperability with various vaults coming together, you have all these different places to jump to. I think it starts to be really, it follows Web3 better, right, in terms of the narrative, which is what I said earlier. Like if you're going to be Web3, you got to be Web3, right? Allow anyone to integrate, allow anyone to connect, allow different worlds, different technology stacks to fit in. And I think that will be amazing because as far as VR or 3D or the metaverse goes, you want to have like a fairly unlimited world, right? When you enter. So I think there's so much potential to what OnCyber has done, and it's literally I think probably what they set out to build initially, and I think in the initial stage I interacted a lot with the OnCyber community, primarily their Twitter account and stuff, and I've always like been trying to joke, and say like it would be great if I could be in my gallery and TC could be my gallery, and we could be face off shooting each other in the gallery. I think that would be fun, like playing a game while browsing the art, and maybe that's just my attention deficit disorder talking again, but I think just we have an unlimited way in which we can interact and just let the users decide what they want to do in the space. I think that's interesting. We can do like Easter egg hunts, shoot each other, get points, climb the leaderboard, whatever, right? You can game it, you can just make it a art gallery for that matter. It's really, you should allow the user to dream, right, and just simply provide the tools for them to dream on. Yeah.
I don't mind to get shot in your vault. I just make
Yeah.
sure that I don't damage any of your pieces.
Yeah. The blood stains everywhere, right? And
Exactly.
then I'll be like, you owe me 5 ETH.
And I hope my clone don't trap in your space. If not, it's gonna be performance art. Um,
Oh yeah, I'll rock you. Like it's a clone drainer. Enter the vault and it belongs to me.
I would charge that. It's royalty fees every second. But yeah, for our audience, if you have any questions for Lunacy, now is the time to request the speakers, and we'll get you on. Actually, we have a question from Lady BB, a good friend that I recently connected, also from the Creators Fam. Shout out to you. So she's actually asking, are you going to Charleston? And I believe it's the Beeple's studio. What do you think about opening up the event to non-holders? What's your take on this? Did you follow that? There's like a gallery studio tour, CryptoPunks meetup at
Oh yeah,
Beeple's
yeah, yeah,
studio.
yeah, yeah.
Going?
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to people's meetup and event. But what was the question? Like, what do I think about it opening up to non-holders? You're saying?
Yeah. So it's not token gated, I assume. So they're opening up for
Yeah.
non-holders as well. So what's your take on this?
Yeah. Okay, that's an interesting question because let's say we follow the purist definition, right, of what the punk type of event should be, then technically, you should allow only token gated for punks, or maybe by extension maybe Meebits, right, which was a Lava Lab construct, or autoglyphs, different products in the era to attend. But I did not read into the you know, when you say non-holders, you know, exactly who should qualify. I think basically anyone could submit, right? But I feel like if you want to follow the approach for in the spirit of what it's about, which is a punk event, then by extension, punks should be the one to invite. So let's say, you know, wait list or ticket list should reside in the punks, right? So to the extent there will be a bit more qualified invitation. I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying that it follows the principles of what the event generally is. Yeah, but you know, saying more would be going too much into detail, which I think is not really the question.
All right, all right. Okay, okay. So, final thoughts before we invite our audience members to join us on the stage. Do you have any final words of encouragement or advice for artists, builders, and everyone who still believes in the technology and Web3? Seeing that you have been a motivational speaker and
I am.
motivating, you know, everyone that stays. You consistently doing all these amazing tweets, very simple tweets that I mentioned before while during our call. But every words comes together. It's powerful. So, what are your encouragement or advice to everyone that's trying to make their way in Web3?
I think that you need to maybe stop doom scrolling. I think to people start looking at the disadvantages, the cons, the difficulties, the flaws of the space. You know, stop looking at how everything is going to explode in some Armageddon. You know, rather, you know, look at the positives, and you can start by being a positive yourself. This is how I feel, right? If you have a platform, it doesn't harm you to be more positive, right? And I know, and I'm telling myself too, that sometimes, you know, depending on the stage in your life, depending on your results, depending on things going around, you know, it's very tempting to just rant, right? And to just, you know, complain, right? And state the obvious negatives. But I think we have a lot of that already, right? And if you're gonna say something that helps someone else. And it's not always about helping a few hundred people, a few thousand people with everything. And I'm not even talking about tweets here, just basically your actions. I think if you can help just one person, like you have done like well enough, right, for what you're trying to do. And I think that the the key thing here is the world needs, or maybe the space, right? I won't say the world, the space needs more people like that, not less. Like it needs more people like Tino, like Sushi, you know, creating such positive spaces, you know, regardless of attendance, regardless of who hears, just being positive. I think that helps. And, you know, don't worry about feedback on, you know, nonsense like toxic positivity and stuff like that. Like if you do it with good intentions, you do it with a good heart and you genuine believe in it, that's good enough for everyone, right? That's good enough for you. Like it doesn't matter what kind of haters or feedback you get. Like just be positive. And I'm not perfect, so I'm also talking to myself here, but I feel like that helps you to stay in the game. And as I said earlier, you know and I know that you're gonna make it in a longer time frame, right? Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. Well, I hope so for you, right? For your sake next month, but maybe not so soon. And the only way you will make it is if your mindset is positive and you're one for, you know, improvement and all these different things associated with just having a great mindset overall.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, indeed, there are a lot of not just on the timeline, but it's everywhere when it comes to market sentiment and the NFTs, um, general impressions in Web2. But anyways, it's a good space with you builders, especially for your insights. Um, Beto also have two questions for you. Um, he asked whether you minted the punks, and the second question is he wants to understand about the early days of minting on art blocks and if you have any alpha for us to date on choosing art NFTs?
Choosing art NFTs. Okay. Um, no, I did not mint the punks, and actually, it's a funny thing, but I felt like at the okay, so it's a free mint, right? So I can't say that I was being conservative since it's free, but I literally, I mean, I hate myself now, but I knew about the mint, but I was like too lazy to even mint because again there wasn't such things happening, right? You have to understand this wasn't a normal thing where, oh, there's open sea and we are buying and flipping stuff and doing all these different things. So the culture hasn't caught on, the space hasn't caught on. So you had to really somehow, you know there wasn't even NFT communities. There wasn't spaces like that, right? That people were talking about PFPs. So you had to just have a very different eye on what's going on and saying, I don't mind collecting some of these things. I don't know who does that. I mean, apparently there were like several high profile collectors who have minted quite a bit, but they also sold at they made mostly let go at too early a price anyway. So no, I didn't mint the pound, so they will just purchase all the way, up from, it wasn't too expensive, but purchase all the way up. So I have, that's how I got into the punk community at least. His last question was alpha on art, right?
Yes.
Wow. So I suppose because he brought up art blocks, right? So you're talking about primarily a certain type of art, which is generative art, and those like huge sets that can command like really high prices. I don't think there's a real alpha on that. I think that because they drop too few and too infrequently, generally a lot of eyes are on it, right? Whenever they do such things, so they tend to work out. It's just whether you can be quick enough or you can get your allocation, particularly for art blocks. But that being said, not everything for art blocks work either, but certainly the main collections do. So no, unfortunately, I don't have um, much alpha on art collecting because that's just not how I see the space anyway. You know. Um, but if you want to talk about alpha from crypto, maybe yeah.
No problem. Very true. I mean, you have made a really good call saying that my CloneX looks better than sushi. So definitely see that you have a very good taste
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to art. Anyway, thank you so much for your valuable time and wisdom. Your insights encourage every one of us here to think critically and continuously reflect on the technology, areas for improvement, and how we can collectively grow in this space. We have gone through discussions on market sentiments and art collecting in this virtual space was truly enlightening. So you have set a remarkable example, not trying to ass licking, but you're a role model in this field. So thank you so much for your time, Lunacy.
Oh, that's really kind, and keep up the great work. Like just hang in there, keep doing such spaces. I mean, it rubs off, and I think it encourages a lot of people to do their own as well. Yeah, that really helps.
Thank you, brother. It meant a lot when it's coming from you. So, Sushi, do you have any final words that you want to wrap up?
Yeah. Again, before that, I think we also have Achilles
Hey guys, no,
up
I
on
don't want to
stage.
take a lot of your time. So I just wanted to thank you guys for the amazing show that you've been doing, and just show support to you guys for putting this off. And thank you Luma for sharing all that knowledge. It's been really superb. So I just wanted to say that.
Great, thank you so much. Thanks for coming up to say that.
Dope.
Thanks for coming
I
up,
think
Achilles.
we got like a curtain gang up here. So curtains are the alpha. Man, I just want to say again, same like TC, same like Achilles. Flowers to you. Thanks, Lunacy, for the insights and bringing some really fresh perspectives. I think a lot of positivity and interesting takes as well. Really, really love to have you here, and really great to meet you. And yeah, again, thank you for taking your time to join our omakase. Hope you enjoyed it as well. And yeah, again, shout out to everyone here from the clone community, from Zuki, everywhere. We are one community. We are one Web3 community. We're all here, one religion, as Lunacy mentioned. And Omakase is the church. If you want to go to church, you can come here every Thursday. But yeah, TC,
Yep, yep,
do you want
yep.
to give some last
Before we drop
word? Yeah, go.
break, the Omakase show will be on a break next week due to the Token 2049 week. However, on September 21st, same time, 9:30 p.m. SGT, with an incredible lineup of talented guests and builders as our speakers. So stay tuned. And Lunacy, I'll see you in the CloneX dinner and also in the art event.
Yeah, see you and see everyone else who is coming for Token 2049. Do hit me up
Let's
if you're here.
go!
All right. GN, everybody. GAGEGM, wherever you are. Have a great one. Thank you for joining Omakase, and see you guys later.
Hey, I'm putting numbers on the board and blowing more digits. I haven't started, man, these are just the before pictures. Shout out my parents, my mother gave birth to 4 winners. All of the players in the game, it's always called benches. Been in the studio, I forgot how to sleep. Not trying to make an album, they forget about in a week. They said the fruit never gonna fall far from the tree. I used to be the kid, now the kids wanna be me. Tripping about my future like way before there was cameras. Hella plans on my calendar before I went all professional. Less social trust and these people making me cynical. More copycats and less people sounding original. Same destination, we just took different routes. Fuck being one of the greatest, I'm trying to be the greatest one. I ain't saying I ain't grateful for everything I become, but the throne is more comfortable than this chair I'm sitting on. My name is Brian Cole, Bars is what I'm known for. If my vision is scaring me, then I don't go for it. Remember my first days here when it was all far. Now I'm on TV with James Corden, that shit was crazy. Just got a place with a backyard, I feel amazing. Nothing can get between me and the dreams I'm facing. Ain't got the time for partying.